I've spent a lifetime really working on the X factor, and the X factor is how your body works. Body positioning, body angles, and power in the body, how you develop power. Now, the X factor is increased when you can have more resistance in the lower body and then coil your upper body against a brace, the lower body, like winding a spring. And then going forward, you want to increase or stretch the X, we call it, by starting the lower body first. Now when you do that, we call it a sit-down position or a little squat position. You don't want to jump off too quick, and the PivotPro will show you when you jump too quick because the pole gets in your way, so you know when you've over-rotated too quickly. So that's a big factor here with the PivotPro, and it's a tremendous benefit for the average golfer. I started writing about the X factor in 1992, and we're still working on body movements, body motions very hard right here at Doral to this day. And what the X factor is turning the upper body over a braced lower body. And the PivotPro really helps you to feel the brace on the backstroke or on the backswing. So when I wind up, what I'm trying to do is have my shoulders out-turn my hips on my backswing. That doesn't mean my hips don't turn, they do. But my shoulders are going to turn a lot more. I'm going to go right into or against this brace. I'm not going to pivot away from it or through it. Now, the X factor stretch is increasing the gap between the shoulder turn and the hip turn. Obviously, when I turn my shoulders more than my hips on my backswing, it creates a gap or a differential. You know, good players, when they start down, sit down a little bit and bump a little bit forward. So it looks like this. I load up and then I start my downswing. So you see I get a little separation away from that rod this way. And then that increases the X factor. We call that stretching the X. Now this is how the PivotPro can help you stretch the X the correct way. A lot of folks go up to the top pretty good, and then when they start down, they pivot a little off their right foot right here, this way. And when I do that, I can feel my hip hit the rod. So that's a reverse backwards. Very common move for people to kind of stay back on their right foot or to rotate the shoulders first. This kind of move. What you want to feel when you start down, which this product, the PivotPro, really does, is help you push off the inside part of your right foot. But remember, it's a little sit-down move. We have to be real careful, though, we just don't spring off our foot this way and pivot the hips around immediately. There's got to be that sit-down, the little move over, where you see this thing hardly move, the rod hardly moves. Still, I'm stretching the X beautiful. If I pivot off this way, the rod actually gets in my way. When I come down, I'd actually hit the rod coming down. Obviously, that's a big problem.